Hello, everyone. My apologies for how I sound, but as you know, I have been ill this week. All right, this week you're reading Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 from our text, Word Identification Strategies. These two chapters focus on phonemic awareness and early word identification. What we will do is relate these understandings to several different approaches to phonics instruction. For example, there's synthetic phonics, the analytical approach, the embedded approach, the analogy approach, the spelling approach, and any number of combinations thereof. It is a great deal of information, but we will attempt to make some sense of it in becoming knowledgeable teachers. Chapter 2 is about becoming aware of the sounds of language. There are some key ideas that you should come away with after you've read Chapter 2. That being, phonological awareness is the ability to hear and manipulate units of sound in spoken language. Phonological awareness refers to the awareness of words, syllables, rhymes, and sounds in language. Phonemic awareness is the ability to hear and manipulate the smallest unit of sound in spoken language. That smallest unit of sound is called a phoneme. Both phonological awareness and phonemic awareness focus on the sounds that we hear and not the letters that we see. I'm going to say that again. Both phonological awareness and phonemic awareness focus on the sounds that we hear and not the letters that we see. Remember, phonological and phonemic awareness activities can be done in the dark. It's all about what we hear. Chapter 2 gives examples of classroom activities for developing rhyme and sound awareness. Some of these activities listed cannot be done in the dark. So avoid those activities when making your phonemic awareness brochure. Your brochure should contain listening and speaking activities only. We are not involving letters yet. Your brochure should include the following 5 phonemic awareness strategies: rhyming, isolating and identifying phonemes, blending phonemes, segmenting phonemes, and manipulating phonemes. Chapter 3 reminds us that word identification strategies develop long before children go to school and long before they learn to read. Think about how children can read environmental print early on in the process of learning to read and write. Oftentimes, as children are just learning about literacy, they may, quote, read a text by looking at the illustrations. They're gaining meaning of the text through the illustrations, but their oral language overrides their attention to print. All right, now I want to look at the directions and the rubric for your phonemic awareness brochure. These are your guidelines. You are designing this brochure, pamphlet, booklet, whatever you want to call it, about phonemic awareness, and it is for parents. These should be professional in nature, and it's something that you could give to parents of children in preschool through first grade. In Preparing your brochure, you need to include an explanation of phonemic awareness and importance for young children. You need to include an explanation written for parents and activities from all 5 areas: rhyming, isolating and identifying phonemes, blending phonemes, segmenting phonemes, and manipulating phonemes. So in other words, you're going to explain each of these strategies and then include activities under those explanations. Some ideas to consider: that you should include parent-friendly websites discussing phonemic awareness. Make sure that your brochure is colorful, attractive, and easy to read. Include titles of children's books that you would recommend for phonemic awareness. The language that you use needs to be very clear. Don't include educational jargon. Give it to someone who is not an education major to see if they understand. Use your textbook and other resources for activities. There are websites on Moodle that you could include as resources. You can use a program for brochures such as Microsoft Publisher, which has templates. Just make sure that you are able to open it and share it with others before submitting it. Here is the rubric that will be provided to you so that you know how you're going to be scored. I'm only going to look at the exemplary column. For content, do you show a great understanding of phonemic awareness? Is the topic covered in depth? Are all the main points covered with details? The book, the pamphlet, brochure, is it relevant, meaningful, and attractive? Does it have appropriate illustrations? Does it include additional resources on the topic? Is it easy to read with explicit language? No spelling or grammar errors should be evident. Here are those strategies that you need to include: rhyming, isolating and identifying phonemes, blending, segmenting, and manipulating of phonemes. So, do you have a complete and accurate summary for each strategy? Is it articulated clearly, demonstrating a clear understanding of each strategy that parents could easily understand? Phonemic awareness activities. Do you have varied activities? And remember, these activities are activities that can be done in the dark. They do not involve letters of any kind. It's all about sound. Do the activities provide an active engagement with an appeal for children? Are the procedures for the activities clearly written with explicit information? And have you used creative visual aids? If you have any questions about this, please ask me. Also, when you turn in your final brochure, please make sure that you include the word final in the title. That way I know that the correct brochure is going to be scored. So please put the word final in the title of your brochure. All right. Now, if you haven't given the spelling inventory, you're going to need to do that this week. I want to talk a little bit about the feature guide, which you're going to have to complete. This is an example of a completed feature guide that I did on my little friend Vinny when he was in 2nd grade. Here is the inventory that I gave him. I have put a check mark beside the features that he got correct. So he spelled the word fan correctly. So over here, he gets 3 feature points. 1 word is spelled correctly. Pet is the same way. He got the 3 features in the word. So there's his 3 points. And he spelled it correctly. All right, let's go to the word wait. He got the W and the T, but he did not get the long vowel pattern AI. So he only got 2 feature points, and the word is not spelled correctly, so he does not get a point for that. So that's how you score each word. Then you're going to look down the feature columns and add those up. So Vinny got, for the initial consonants, he got 7 out of 7. Final consonants, 7 out of 7. So Vinny's doing very well. He gets blends. So then we get to the long vowel pattern, and Vinny only gets 3 of 7. This is where I'm going to start my instruction with Vinny. Students that miss 2 or 3 features often need work in that area. So that is where you want to start with your instruction. So once I have this all filled out, I go back up to the top of the feature guide. I'm going to write the number of words spelled correctly, the total number of feature points, the total of those 2 goes here. And then I'm going to look at the spelling stages. Well, Vinny needed help here with long vowel patterns. That falls in the within word pattern between the early and middle stage. So long vowel patterns is where I'm going to start instruction. Now there are many word study activities online that match this primary spelling inventory. For example, with Vinny, for long vowel patterns, I may work on CVCE words. And those are the activities that I'm going to do in my tutor sessions with him. So if you have questions about this, please ask me. You have a final project for this class. Your final project is looking at all these assessments that you're going to be giving, analyzing the assessments, and writing a phonics word study lesson plan based on the needs that you see from these assessments. You're going to need to upload all of these things, all of your artifacts. If you haven't already taken a look at week 7 and week 8, please do that so you know where we're headed with these assessments and analyses. Like I said, if you have questions, please ask.